Isaiah, chapter 22.
An oracle concerning Jerusalem. New English translation. Here is a message about the Valley of Vision. What is the reason that all of you go up to the rooftops? The noisy city is full of raucous sounds. The town is filled with revelry. Your slain were not cut down by the sword. They did not die in battle. All your leaders ran away together. They fled to a distant place. All your refugees were captured together. They were captured without a single arrow being shot.
Isaiah 22. Bible in Basic English. An oracle concerning Jerusalem. The word about the Valley of Vision. Why have all your people gone up to the housetops, you, who are full of loud voices, a town of outcries, given up to joy? Your dead men have not been put to the sword, or come to their death in war. All your rulers have gone in flight. All your strong ones have gone far away.
So I say, don't look at me. I am weeping bitterly. Don't try to console me concerning the destruction of my defenseless people.
For this cause I have said, let your eyes be turned away from me and my bitter weeping. I will not be comforted for the wasting of the daughter of my people. For it is a day of trouble and of crushing down and of destruction from the Lord.
For the sovereign master, the Lord who commands armies, has planned a day of panic, defeat, and confusion. In the valley of vision people shout and cry out to the hill.
For it is a day of trouble and of crushing down and of destruction from the Lord of armies. In the valley of vision. And Elam was armed with arrows, and Aram came on horseback, and the breastplate of Kir was uncovered. And your most fertile valleys were full of war-carriages. And the horsemen took up their positions in front of the town.
In the valley of vision people shout and cry out to the hill. The Elamites picked up the quiver, and came with chariots and horsemen. The men of Kir prepared the shield. Your very best valleys were full of chariots. Horsemen confidently took their positions at the gate.
And the horsemen took up their positions in front of the town. He took away the cover of Judah, and in that day you were looking with care at the store of arms in the house of the woods.
They removed the defenses of Judah. At that time you looked for the weapons in the house of the forest. You saw the many breaks in the walls of the city of David. You stored up water in the lower pool. You counted the houses in Jerusalem, and demolished houses so you could have material to reinforce the wall. You made a reservoir between the two walls for the water of the old pool, but you did not trust in the one who made it. You did not depend on the one who formed it long ago.
And you saw all the broken places in the wall of the town of David, and you got together the waters of the lower pool, and you had the houses of Jerusalem numbered, pulling down the houses to make the wall stronger, and you made a place between the two walls for storing the waters of the old pool. But you gave no thought to him who had done this, and were not looking to him by whom it had been purposed long before.
At that time the sovereign master, the Lord who commands armies, called for weeping and mourning, for shaved heads and sackcloth.
And in that day the Lord of armies, was looking for weeping, and cries of sorrow, cutting off of the hair, and putting on the clothing of grief. But in place of these there was joy and delight.
But look, there is outright celebration. You say, kill the ox and slaughter the sheep. Eat meat and drink wine. Eat and drink, for tomorrow we die.
The Lord of armies, was looking for weeping, and cries of sorrow, cutting off of the hair, and putting on the clothing of grief. But in place of these there was joy and delight. Oxen and sheep were being made ready for food, there was feasting and drinking. Men said, now is the time for food and wine, for tomorrow death comes.
Eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. The Lord who commands armies told me this. Certainly the sin will not be forgiven as long as you live, says the sovereign master, the Lord who commands armies.
And the Lord of armies said to me secretly, truly, this sin will not be taken from you till your death, says the Lord of armies.
This is what the sovereign master, the Lord who commands armies, says. Go visit this administrator, Shebna, who supervises the palace, and tell him, what right do you have to be here? What relatives do you have buried here? Why do you chisel out a tomb for yourself here?
The Lord of armies, says, go to this person in authority, this Shebna, who is over the house, who has made himself a resting place on high, cutting out a place for himself in the rock, and say, Who are you, and by what right have you made for yourself a resting place here? See, O strong man, the Lord will send you violently away.
Why do you chisel out a tomb for yourself here? He chisels out his burial site in an elevated place. He carves out his tomb on a cliff. Look, the Lord will throw you far away, you mere man. He will wrap you up tightly. He will wind you up tightly into a ball and throw you into a wide, open land.
See, O strong man, the Lord will send you violently away, gripping you with force, twisting you round and round like a ball. He will send you out into a wide country. There you will come to your end, and there will be the carriages of your pride, O shame of your Lord's house. And I will have you forced out of your place of authority.
There you will die, and there with you will be your impressive chariots, which bring disgrace to the house of your master. I will remove you from your office. You will be thrown down from your position. At that time I will summon my servant Eliakim, son of Hilkiah. I will put your robe on him, tie your belt around him, and transfer your authority to him.
O shame of your Lord's house, and I will have you forced out of your place of authority, and pulled down from your position, and in that day I will send for my servant, Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and I will put your robe on him, and put your band about him, and I will give your authority into his hand.
He will become a protector of the residents of Jerusalem and of the people of Judah. I will place the key to the house of David on his shoulder.
And he will be a father to the men of Jerusalem, and to the family of Judah, and I will give the key of the family of David into his care. And what he keeps open will be shut by no one, and what he keeps shut no one will make open.
I will place the key to the house of David on his shoulder. When he opens the door, no one can close it. When he closes the door, no one can open it. I will fasten him like a peg into a solid place. He will bring honor and respect to his father's family. His father's family will gain increasing prominence because of him, including the offspring and the offshoots.
And I will put him like a nail in a safe place, and he will be for a seed of glory to his father's family, and all the glory of his father's family will be hanging on him, all their offspring.
All the small containers, including the bowls, and all the jars will hang from this peg. At that time, says the Lord who commands armies, the peg fastened into a solid place will come loose. It will be cut off and fall, and the load hanging on it will be cut off. Indeed, the Lord has spoken.
Every small vessel, even the cups and the basins, in that day, says the Lord of armies, will the nail fixed in a safe place give way, and it will be cut down, and in its fall the weight hanging on it will be cut off, for the Lord has said it.
Isaiah, chapter 23.
An oracle concerning Tyre and Sidon. Isaiah 23, New English Translation. Here is a message about Tyre. Wail, you large ships, for the port is too devastated to enter. From the land of Cyprus this news is announced to them. Lament, you residents of the coast, you merchants of Sidon who travel over the sea, whose agents sail over the deep waters.
Isaiah 23, Bible in Basic English. An oracle concerning Tyre and Sidon. The word about Tyre. Let a cry of sorrow go up, O ships of Tarshish, because your strong place is made waste. On the way back from the land of Kittim the news is given to them. Send out a cry of grief, you men of the sea land, traders of Zidon, who go over the sea, whose representatives are on great waters, who get in the seat of Shearer, whose wealth is the trade of the nations.
You merchants of Sidon who travel over the sea, whose agents sail over the deep waters. Grain from the Shear region, crops grown near the Nile she receives, she is the trade center of the nations. Be ashamed, O Sidon. For the sea says this, O fortress of the sea, I have not gone into labor or given birth, I have not raised young men or brought up young women.
Be shamed, O Zidon, for the sea, the strong place of the sea has said, I have not been with child, or given birth, I have not taken care of young men, or kept watch over the growth of virgins.
When the news reaches Egypt, they will be shaken by what has happened to Tyre.
When the news comes to Egypt, they will be bitterly pained at the fate of Tyre. Go over to Tarshish, give cries of sorrow, O men of the sea land.
Travel to Tarshish, wail, you residents of the coast. Is this really your boisterous city whose origins are in the distant past, and whose feet led her to a distant land to reside?
Is this the town which was full of joy, whose start goes back to times long past, whose wanderings took her into far-off countries? By whom was this purposed against Tyre?
Who planned this for royal Tyre, whose merchants are princes, whose traders are the dignitaries of the earth? The Lord who commands armies planned it, to dishonor the pride that comes from all her beauty.
By whom was this purposed against Tyre, the crowning town, whose traders are chiefs, whose businessmen are honored in the land? It was the purpose of the Lord of armies to put pride to shame, to make sport of the glory of those who are honored in the earth.
To dishonor the pride that comes from all her beauty, to humiliate all the dignitaries of the earth. Daughter Tarshish, travel back to your land, as one crosses the Nile. There is no longer any marketplace in Tyre.
Let your land be worked with the plow, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no longer any harbor. His hand is stretched out over the sea. The kingdoms are shaking. The Lord has given orders about Canaan, to make waste at strong places.
The Lord stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook kingdoms. He gave the order to destroy Canaan's fortresses. He said, "You will no longer celebrate, oppressed virgin daughter Sidon. Get up, travel to Cyprus, but you will find no relief there."
The kingdoms are shaking. The Lord has given orders about Canaan, to make waste at strong places. And he said, "There is no more joy for you, O crushed virgin daughter of Zidon. Up, go over to Kittim. Even there you will have no rest."
Look at the land of the Chaldeans, these people who have lost their identity. The Assyrians have made it a home for wild animals.
Look at the land of the Chaldeans, a people who no longer exist. Assyria destined it for desert creatures. They set up their siege towers and stripped its palaces. They made it a ruin.
The Assyrians have made it a home for wild animals. They erected their siege towers, demolished its fortresses, and turned it into a heap of ruins. Wail, you large ships, for your fortress is destroyed. At that time Tyre will be forgotten for 70 years, the typical lifespan of a king.
Let a cry of sorrow go up, O ships of Tarshish, because your strong place is made waste. And it will be in that day that Tyre will go out of mind for 70 years, that is, the days of one king.
At the end of 70 years Tyre will try to attract attention again, like the prostitute in the popular song. Take the harp, go through the city, forgotten prostitute, play it well, play lots of songs. At the end of 70 years the Lord will revive Tyre. She will start making money again by selling her services to all the earth's kingdoms. Her profits and earnings will be set apart for the Lord. They will not be stored up or accumulated.
After the end of 70 years it will be for Tyre as in the song of the loose woman. Take an instrument of music, go about the town, O loose woman who has gone out from the memory of man. Make sweet melody with songs, so that you may come back to men's minds. And it will be after the end of 70 years that the Lord will have mercy on Tyre, and she will go back to her trade, acting as a loose woman with all the kingdoms of the world on the face of the earth. And her goods and her trade will be holy to the Lord. They will not be kept back or stored up.
For her profits will be given to those who live in the Lord's presence and will be used to purchase large quantities of food and beautiful clothes.
For her produce will be for those living in the Lord's land, to give them food for their needs and fair clothing.